Hi, welcome to What's the Book About? I'm your host Kevin. This is Lost Days by Mike Moscoe. This is the final book in the Lost Millennium trilogy, and it is here where we get to see the results of two time travelers changing recorded history. At the end of the last book, the goddess worshippers won against the horsemen, and Luna and Jack spotted a time distortion after this event, and they think they're getting recalled to the future, our present. And they traveled, and now we start with them in altered present day where the earth is united under a matriarchal rule, and that killer virus that was wiping out humanity no longer exists. And in the past, we see an uneasy peace between the goddess worshippers and the horsemen. And as we follow these two timelines, everything comes unglued. Okay, so that's the spoiler-free introduction. Be warned, from here on out, there may be a few spoilers. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. So in the past, Anita, as a rape victim of the horsemen, cannot abide by the peace treaty. She's secretly going over the border into horseman land and conducting raids, ravaging and destroying horsemen villages and clans. And she's slowly becoming the monster that she thinks she's stopping. While in the present future day, in the altered timeline, Luna and Jack are discovering, to their secret horror, that the benevolent matriarchal council is a dictatorship, and they are protecting and sheltering those poor, not white women from being culturally contaminated, relegating anyone who is not a white woman to secondary and less status. And secret underground cells have been formed to fight against this, and they discover Luna and Jack's temporal tampering. The cells try to undo what they've done by trying to kill them, but well, they've altered the past so much that actually Luna doesn't exist in this timeline, while Jack does. So once the cell understands that killing them won't actually stop the changes, they end up recruiting Luna and Jack to go back in time one last time to alter things further, because merely switching gender roles did not solve the fundamental problem. The cycle of war and violence that led to the killer virus is still a distinct possibility in this new altered timeline. When Luna and Jack land in the past, they find that Anita's actions have spawned a war between the horsemen and the goddess worshippers, and they have to fight a war without Anita, because at this point she's actually come face to face with the fact that she's become that monster she tried to fight. And without a clear goal, merely defeating the horsemen is not enough to change the timeline. Luna and Jack have to find another way to end the cycle of violence and war before it truly begins. So what's good and bad about this particular novel? Well, first off, the tragedy of Anita's character arc is completed in this novel, where she was the victim, she is now the victimizer. She has become the monster. And it is not a surprise, but it is shocking how far she goes, and the fact that the author does not pull any punches. And when you see her standing over the bodies of the people that she was sworn to protect, covered in the blood of someone who speaks for the goddess, a leader, just like her mother was, just like her mother died in her home protecting children, just like Anita is now standing over the body of the speaker for the goddess, covered in her blood. It's a shocking moment of character self-realization, and it is effective warning for those who want to pursue the soldier's path for revenge. What could happen to you where you become the monster you tried to stop? Another good factor in this particular novel is how the author treats the horsemen, because these characters, before they fought the goddess worshippers, now they see the goddess worshippers as equals, and that only elevates their threat level when they actually do go to war, because they are treating this like warriors fighting expert warriors. And in the present alternate timeline, we are giving glimpses of the changes, enough so that we can get familiar fairly quickly, because mostly the only changes are really gender swaps. But there's enough change that we are familiar with the world, that the dangers become and stand out much more starkly. And another really good thing is the introduction of Jack's family in the alternate timeline, where we get invested in them and the other characters we meet quickly enough so that we care about the fact that while they've altered their timeline, they have not altered it enough. Merely reversing the gender roles does not really solve the fundamental problem. The cycle of violence and war is still continuing. And when Lona and Jack go to the past, that's what they're really trying to stop. That cycle of violence and war where it keeps going on and on and on and on. And it's unusual for a piece of military fiction to be the goal not to be winning the battle, but to be forging a peace. And the peace that the author does create between the various societies and factions is really well thought of and really suits the narrative very well. So in the end, what is the book about? Role reversal. Not merely just the gender swap that they did for the alternate future, but no, it's a fundamental reversal of everyone's roles from when they were first introduced. Take Anita, for example. She was the victim and the hero, and in this book she becomes the villain. And Hannah, who was the die-hard peacenik, peace above all else, she's come to realize and come to advocate that yes, we have to fight sometimes, and she ends up supporting those who are going to fight instead of trying to stop them. And Lona and Jack, while they're in the alternate future, are passive observers of what goes on. It's only when they go into the past, like when they did in the first book, that they become active instigators again. Even the horsemen are treated completely differently than what they were first introduced. At first they were just mindless aggressors. Now they are nuanced, thinking, responsive people with character and depth. And this story is told with such depth and deft skill that it is why I have to give this particular book 4 out of 4 stars. Now, it is published by Ace Science Fiction, and you can still find it as a book under Mike Moscoe's pen name, or you can pick it up as the ebook under his real name, Mike Shepard. So there's no reason you can't go out, get it, read it, and enjoy. Till next time, have a good one.